Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into some upcoming changes to SNAP benefits coming up in February 2025. If you follow the program, this is a good chance to get up to speed on all the nuances. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We all know SNAP helps low-income families put food on the table, or, well, I guess helps them buy the food. But either way, SNAP, or food stamps as many people know it, is always changing, and February 2025 has some adjustments coming. Understanding those nuances is going to be really important for a lot of people.
Yeah, and one of the more interesting upcoming changes is going to be with the payment schedule. It's not a one-size-fits-all change, which is what makes it so interesting. We're seeing a lot of variations state by state. Some states are even going to tie disbursement dates to the last few digits of a recipient's social security number or case number.
So it's not as easy as just marking a date on the calendar. You're going to want to consult your state's SNAP website or portal to get your specific information.
Right. And while we're talking about specifics, we should probably touch on eligibility. The main criteria are going to stay the same. Household size and income are really the biggest factors. Generally speaking, you have to have a gross income below 130% of the federal poverty level.
And just to clarify, that 130% threshold is going to be a different number for each household size. It's not one fixed income limit for everyone.
Exactly. And here's what I think is interesting. SNAP doesn't just look at wages. It takes into account all kinds of income, unemployment benefits, social security, everything. It's really a more holistic approach. Financial stability isn't just about working. It's about the whole picture.
It really shows that income can come from a lot of different places and that each source impacts a household differently. This helps guarantee that the people who need the assistance are the ones getting it.
Exactly. And speaking of helping those in need, it's good to point out how adaptable SNAP is, especially during times of economic hardship. The USDA said many times that SNAP is meant to support families, especially during difficult times.
That's a very important point. We saw how the program was expanded during the pandemic. That really shows how flexible and responsive it can be to real-world problems.
And it's not just adjusting the benefit amounts. They're also doing more outreach to try and get people to apply, even if they're not sure if they qualify. They really want to make sure that anyone who needs this support is able to get it.
It's really all about removing any roadblocks and making the program easy to use, especially during times when things are uncertain.
Right, because at the end of the day, SNAP is most effective when it can be a reliable safety net, when it's needed most. And that leads us to another part of SNAP making the most of the benefits. We've talked about eligibility and the payment schedule, but now how do we make these benefits last?
Budgeting, of course. It's important in general, but even more so when you're dealing with limited resources. If you create a budget and follow it, you can prioritize the most important things and not overspend.
Absolutely. And along with budgeting, planning out your trips to the grocery store and even writing a list beforehand is important. That helps you resist buying things you don't need.
Right? A little planning can go a long way. It's about being mindful of your spending and making sure you get the most out of every dollar. And these days, we have even more tools help us with this. It's so easy to keep track of your EBT balance online. You could check in real time.
No more surprises at the checkout. So we've talked about how to stretch your benefits. But let's talk about something more exciting, the hidden perks of SNAP.
There's more to SNAP than just putting food on the table. There are opportunities that people might not even realize.
Exactly, and a lot of people don't realize that some retailers offer discounts to SNAP recipients. And this is great. Some farmers markets even have programs where they'll double your SNAP benefits if you use them to buy fresh produce.
That's amazing. Doubling the value of your benefits, it's such a great way to get people access to fresh, healthy food, and it supports local businesses and farmers at the same time.
It's a win-win. It shows how S&P can really impact entire communities, not just individuals.
And since we're talking about communities, we have to highlight the real-world effects of these SNAP benefits, especially during difficult times. We saw during COVID-19 how important this program was. It helped so many families when jobs were lost and schools were closed.
It was vital. The pandemic really showed everyone that SNAP is there as a safety net. The increased benefits during that time helped so many people keep food on the table. It really proved how the program can adapt to the changing needs of the population.
And the stories from that time are so powerful. It reminds us that there are real people behind these numbers and policies. This program is about more than just food. It's about giving people stability and helping them feel secure during difficult times.
And that feeling of security is so important if you want people and families to be able to thrive. If you don't have to worry about whether you can afford to eat, you can focus on more important things like school, work, or just your own personal well-being. SNAP gives people the space to move forward and build a better future.
It's about giving people the tools they need, rather than just a temporary solution. And as we look ahead to the future, it's obvious that S&P will continue to be an important program for addressing food insecurity and helping create a more stable society. especially as our economic landscape gets more and more complex.
It's a program that's always changing, always adapting to meet the changing needs of our society. And that's why everyone needs to stay informed about these changes, not just the people who use the program. We all need to understand how important this program is if we want to create a better future where everyone has access to food.
Well said. And looking ahead, how do you see SNAP evolving as we encounter new challenges and opportunities? What other innovations or adaptations can be made to make sure SNAP continues to have a positive impact?
That's a great question, and it's something that a lot of people are thinking about. Policymakers, researchers, advocates. As we move forward, we need to think outside the box. We need new approaches to guarantee that SNAP is effective and adaptable. We need to make sure it meets the needs of our communities.
We need to realize that this isn't some static program. SNAP needs to evolve to keep up with the changing needs of our society. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
Right, and that evolution is going to require everyone to work together. Policymakers, community groups, businesses, and just regular people to create a future where everyone has enough food to eat.
We need to see that SNAP is more than just a government program. It reflects our values as a society, our commitment to making sure everyone has access to the things they need to survive. It shows that we all believe that everyone deserves to thrive, no matter their situation.
And that commitment is so important as we look at the future of food insecurity. We've talked about eligibility, payment schedules, making the most of your benefits. But staying informed is just as important, especially with all these changes coming in February 2025.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, especially with a program like SNAP that has so many details. Staying informed can really make a difference in getting access to the resources you need. So where do we start? What are the best sources to stay updated on all these changes?
Well, your state's SNAP website or portal is a good place to start. It's going to have the most up-to-date information for your specific state, everything from eligibility and payment schedules to any announcements or changes to the program.
So it's really the best place to get information that applies to your specific situation. But what about national resources? Are there any websites or organizations that give a broader perspective?
Of course, the USDA runs SNAP at the federal level, and they have tons of resources on their website, fact sheets, FAQs, and even links to state-specific programs. It's a great place to get a really in-depth understanding of the program.
So it's good for those smaller details, but also for the bigger picture. Are there any organizations that focus specifically on helping people who use SNAP?
There are a lot of nonprofits that work on fighting hunger and food insecurity. A lot of them offer support and guidance for SNAP recipients. They can help people navigate the program and access other resources in their communities.
So it's about creating a system of support, not just giving people benefits, but making sure they know how to use them.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a lot of information out there, both online and in local communities.
It is. You just have to know where to look. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. There are a lot of people who are passionate about making sure everyone has what they need.
So as we wrap up our look at SNAP, I want to leave our listeners with something to think about. We've discussed how the program changes as the economy changes. But what about the long-term vision for SNAP? What new adaptations or innovations could we see as we face new challenges in the future?
It's a question that a lot of people are working on. Policymakers, researchers, advocates. We need to be creative and come up with new approaches to make sure SNAP stays effective and responsive to the needs of our communities.
It's about recognizing that SNAP isn't a one-and-done solution. It has to keep evolving to keep up with the changes in our society. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for joining us today on our look at SNAP and why it matters. We hope you learned something new and that this sparked your interest in this important program. Until next time, keep those minds hungry for knowledge.